It is of extreme concern to us as a government, as it should be to all our international friends and allies, that China has chosen to begin to arbitrarily apply death penalty in cases facing, as in this case, facing a Canadian.
Looming over all of this, of course, Canada's arrest of a Huawei executive and then China's apparent retaliation detaining 2 other Canadians. Evan Dyer now on why it is all likely deeply connected.
November 2017, Chinese authorities drive 8 men straight from the courtroom where they've been convicted to the place of execution. China carries out about 2,000 executions a year, and many of them, like the 8 men in Shanwei, were convicted of dealing methamphetamine. So it's not that unusual that a man convicted of trafficking nearly a quarter ton of meth would face the death penalty there. Back home in Canada, Robert Schellenberg already had a record for dealing meth and other hard drugs. He pleaded guilty in 2011 to charges in Chilliwack in Abbotsford, BC, where he ran a dial-a-dope operation. But it's rare, although not unheard of, for China to execute Westerners, and unusual for it to reopen a case to change a prison term to a death sentence.
What is unusual is that it is now being referred back by the higher court with a clear remit that it needs to have the sentence being toughened up. It does appear as if it is more politically driven.
In the case of the briefly detained Canadian teacher Sarah McIver, Chinese officials were at pains to stress that it wasn't related to the case of Huawei executive Meng Wanzhou. But with Schellenberg, there's been no such denial. More evidence the case is political, says Zhang.
What I think our Chinese friends don't understand is that the independent judiciary in Canada is independent.
And Canada's former ambassador to China sees another clue.
They invited foreign journalists to attend the trial. They claim that it's for transparency purposes. Well, if it's the case, they could have started doing that years ago. And therefore, I think all this was orchestrated, and the death sentence was something that was predetermined.
Today, Schellenberg's aunt appealed for help for her nephew. The Schellenberg family requests that all Canadians stand with us and pray for the safe return of our loved one. Evan Dyer, CBC News, Ottawa.
Late tonight, Global Affairs has issued a new warning for Canadians planning to travel to China. Even though the risk level is staying the same, the advisory now says this: we encourage Canadians to exercise a high degree of caution in China due to the risk of arbitrary enforcement of local laws, specifically mentioning the death penalty and penalties for drug-related offenses.